Hello. Just waiting for people to show up. This is a press conference from Wednesday that I found clips of, and then Darrow found the full press conference. And it's interesting. It actually, in my mind, gives more credibility to the Delphi connection. I'm not saying it's still probably not very good odds, but it made me think even more about it. So while people show up, I'm going to look up something really quick. Here's an interview with I think he's the captain. I'm not exactly sure who this guy is, but he describes the case a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 32 years as a police officer, I've seen a lot of tragic events. But the event last Monday was one of the most disturbing things that I've ever had an occasion to investigate.
See, you hear that right there? See, that right there is similar, right? Like, wow. One of the most disturbing things they'd ever investigated. That's exactly what they said in the Delphi case. You know, at face value, you'd think, okay, well, I mean, this is a crazy case, but I think this guy, you're going to hear some things that are similar. It looked like he waited for the perfect opportunity, the trap, if you will. He went into the store, scoped it out, and then he knew that there was only women in there. So he went back out to his car, got his gun. Then he went back in, and one lady had just left, so she's lucky. And then he went back in and forced them all into a room and undress. And then he forced them to do acts on him, sexual acts. And I believe, in my opinion, one of them fought back, and that's the one who he killed. Yeah. So this is just a statement that this officer made the other day. Chief, I guess. Is that who this is? Yeah, County Police Chief Colonel John Belmar.
The event last Monday was one of the most disturbing things that I've ever had an occasion to investigate. I want to talk to you about how proud I am of the men and women of the St. Louis County Police Department, the dedication of the detectives. But I really want this message to be how proud I am of our community.
This isn't the press conference.
I'm proud of the residents. I'm proud of the businesses. I'm proud of the scores and hundreds of tips that came into the St. Louis County Police Department. Because of you, because of that help, we were able to clear this case. We brought closure to a family. We brought closure to other victims. And we brought closure and comfort, I believe, for our community.
15 miles is a long ways away.
You have my sincere thanks. And have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Okay, so there's that. And now here is the press conference. And just listen carefully to everything in it. I mean, especially near the end, but we're going to listen to everything. And I'll pause it here and there, and I might talk during it. And if it offends you, then go watch somebody else, all right? Because I do talk. That's what I'm doing. I put the link in the description to the actual press conference. If you want to go back and listen to it uninterrupted, rubbing your hands together and, clinging, I got to hear every single second, then go do it later, okay? Because I'm going to probably say, hey, listen to this. You might miss a word or two. Don't worry about it.
Of our broader community. I want to thank the victims, the surviving victims for the...
And that's where it starts, right where I just played that. That's where it starts, okay? I didn't cut something out. This is where the press conference starts on this recording.
Of our broader community. I want to thank the victims, the surviving victims, for their courage. I want to thank them for their courage and cooperation with these detectives that arrayed to the side of me. I want to thank the public. I want to thank the public for the hundreds of leads that came in on this case. I want to thank the cooperations of the businesses in the area and along Manchester Road. I want to talk a little bit about the dedication of these detectives. Ladies and gentlemen, they worked tirelessly since Monday on this case. They didn't rest. They didn't take a break. They kept going like they do in many cases that don't get this type of recognition. And I can't tell you how proud I am of these detectives. I'd like to thank the FBI. I had an opportunity to liaise with the special agent in charge and his staff since Monday regarding this. The FBI has been very helpful on some parts of evidence that we're trying to gather, or we have gathered, I should say, in this case. And I'd like to thank Mr. McCullough, our prosecuting attorney, for the careful consideration in this case. I'll be available for some questions after Mr. McCullough speaks and talks specifically about the charges. And I would like to present to you our prosecuting attorney, Mr. Bob McCullough.
You know, I want to echo to a part of what the Chief Dahmer had to say about our sympathies going out to the family. It is, as he mentioned, every homicide is a tragedy, but a case like this is just especially heartbreaking. And to see what went on, what happened, and just the senselessness of all of it that went on, just the how it all came about and everything that went. So we will do our best to meet with the family when they're ready to sit down and talk and go through the process with them. But suffice it to say at this point that we filed a total of 14 counts against Thomas Bruce. Bruce has been identified as the person who entered the store and committed these variety of crimes. He's been charged with murder in the first degree, 3 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of kidnapping, burglary, tampering with evidence, and 8 counts of armed criminal action. That's 1 count for the major charges that are in there. The tampering deals with attempting to dispose of some of the clothing that was ultimately recovered. And echo again the work of the police department and people in my office, assistants and investigators in the office who working with the police to kind of keep this going and provide whatever assistance they needed in terms of advice warrants, search warrants, and the like. There's still a great deal of investigation ongoing. There'll be several search warrants issued. Mr. Bruce, near as we can tell at this point, has no criminal record, although he is still being run through several national databases that may very well turn up some additional.
Hey, you see that part right there? He's being run through national databases and very well may. Because something like this, when somebody does something like this, it's not their first rodeo, you know? Like, they've done this before. And it seems so similar in a way, you know? In this case, he was using the shopping mall like the trail at the bridge. So the killer in the Delphi case, he put himself in a position that he knew that there was nobody in front of him on the bridge, and he knew nobody was behind him on the trail too. So when the girls came by and they walked past him, he knew that they were the only people that were in front of him. So he kept his distance behind, making sure that nobody knew was coming onto the trail. And then at a certain point, he then followed them across the bridge, and they fell into his trap. It could have been anybody. They were just the unfortunate people, Abby and Libby, to be in that position that day. I think any an adult female, anybody. The age really had nothing to do with it. Okay? That's my opinion on this. All right, so now this guy is mentioning national database, and let's continue.
Additional information. So As it stands right now, as I said, he's charged with the 14 counts. As you know, murder in the first degree carries a potential death sentence. The kidnappings are all Class A felonies, carrying up to life in prison. The tampering with the evidence of burglary first carries up to 15 years. The armed criminal actions a minimum of 3, and the tampering up to an additional 4 years in the penitentiary. And I think I mentioned that the tampering deals with his attempt to dispose of the clothing that he was wearing.
Yeah, he tried to get rid of the blue jacket and the hat, right?
At the time of these horrific acts. So with that,
you think he would have gotten rid of it the first time?
I meant to that, like every criminal defendant, Mr. Bruce is presumed innocent unless until proven guilty, and these are mere allegations at this point.
Just recall, will you seek the death penalty?
Well, the aggravating circumstances are certainly there. That's part of it, and it's, as you know, Kevin, from over years, it's a process. It takes some time. So the aggravators are there. There's other stuff to look at. There's more information that will be coming in. It is not something that will be able to be completed before the end of the year.
What are you talking about, Joe?
So
there was 3 of them there.
The next prosecutor, administration, will have to make that final decision. But certainly the aggravating circumstances.
There's somebody that left the building before he came in, but saw him come in before.
No, I have no idea. I gave up trying to figure out why people do things, especially something like this. I have no idea. You can't.
That's exactly how I feel.
I wouldn't even try.
Listen to that. Right
it was a horror.
See, this is what's great. See, this isn't one of those people. Oh, he's a sociopath. He's a this. He's a that.
Figure out why people do things, especially something.
Here, let's listen to that again.
No, I have no idea. I gave up trying to figure out why people do things, especially something
people
like
are just
this.
random barbarians.
I have no idea. You can't get into the mind. I wouldn't even try. It was a horrible thing. He came into the business posing as a customer.
Hey, Terry, just let us play the interview.
Ostensibly to go get a credit card to come in and buy some stuff, but who knows why exactly, perhaps to get his gun. But in any event, came back in. Unfortunately, another
he's just as confused as everybody else.
Or there would have been 4 people involved. So
why do people
came back in and then herded everybody into the back room.
Okay,
customer had just left the building.
See, this is the important part here. I was talking over it, so I'll play it back for you psychos. It gets so offended when somebody's talking.
Come in and buy some stuff, but who knows why exactly, perhaps to get his gun. But in any event, came back in. Unfortunately, another customer had just left the building, or there would have been 4 people involved. So came back in and then herded everybody into the back room, the 3 women into the back room, and committed these horrible acts.
Is there any connection between the suspect and the victim, since both are from Jefferson County?
None that anybody has established at this point. I kind of doubt that. We have no reason to think at this point that there's any connection between any of them.
Did he make any statements to law enforcement?
He's been in custody for some time, and was just not in a position to talk about that at this point.
Was there a specific tip?
I don't know if there's a specific tip, but I can tell, and as the chief indicated, there were hundreds of calls coming in, and we're thrilled to see that the public took such a great interest in this that a lot of the tips come in, and there's nothing too small or insignificant. Most of them turned out to be nothing, but we're thrilled that those calls came in, and everyone was followed up on. So there were some tips that that led to other things, but it took a while to put all that together.
Chief Belmar, could you talk a little bit about how you got the break in the case? Because you didn't even have a picture. It was a hard start, but how did you solve it?
No, we didn't have a picture, but we had some unique items of clothing, and we made sure that at the appropriate
Danielle,
time
you're not right there.
established exactly what we felt the type of clothing this individual was wearing.
So don't put stuff out like that.
Then we had the ability to put that out. So the hat was somewhat distinctive, and the type of jacket, etc. And then I think without going into too much.
Okay, look at. Let's say what Danielle just wrote up there is not fact at all. Okay. Yeah, she's going by or I don't even know if that's a guy or a girl, all right? But whoever that person is going by the dates on the death certificates. Oh, look, one said 14, the other said 13. That's because they could choose, all right? So don't put out the crap, okay? Don't anybody believe anything that person just wrote above, okay? It's complete nonsense. And if it turns out to be true, it has nothing to do with the dates that were on the birth certificates I mean, not the death certificates. That has nothing to do with that. And there's no other information out there that would suggest that. So it would be pure luck. So they can't even come back later and say, see, I told you. No, it's pure luck on your part. All right.
Much detail on what really has been a case we've been running hard with for certainly since early this morning. But a recanvas helps. We're going to be out there, talking to people again, not just the first time, but we're asking questions in the vicinity over the course of the next few days. So because of that and because of a tip, that pretty much broke the case.
The charges say that
a tip broke the case.
After police had put out a description, do you get the sense that he was following the news on this?
Well, he may very well have been, but he may have also just knew what he did and decided to get rid of the clothing. Didn't do a very good job of it, which is not uncommon. But
I don't care. I actually don't care. That's the difference between me and other people, Glenn, is I don't care.
And other items that are still undergoing some testing.
Yeah.
What's the bruise on his face?
I like subscribers that don't make up stuff and just throw stuff out.
That I haven't seen him.
Does he have any prior offenses that would lead?
We have nothing to indicate any kind of prior law enforcement contact, certainly no prior convictions, but as I said, he's still being run through, a couple of national databases.
He's made some political statements on social media. Was there any political or religious connection?
Okay, Daniel, that's cool.
None at least at this point.
I'm just saying, you can't throw stuff like that out, man.
More thoroughly investigated, and I'm aware of some of the comments that he apparently was putting on social media for that, but I don't see any connection at this point to anything that he did.
Any idea why the Catholic?
See, what we do on this channel is we find the facts that are known and then speculate on those facts, and that is how you get an accurate sort of speculation on what may have happened. If you don't do that, then you're left with absolute garbage. Like in the Delphi case itself, there were so many morons that would come up with, oh, look, there's face in the wood. Look, there's a little face in the wood. And then they do this whole story based on a face in the grain of wood. Okay, and that's when I started making my first debunking videos, when I saw the absolute garbage being put out there. Okay, so what we do here is we find the actual known facts and then speculate on that, all right? And here comes the Ada and Daro Mushy Show. Yee-hoo, with the hearts and everything. Okay, I'm going to get back to the press conference.
Supply store. Has there been any indication on why that was the target here?
I have no indication of that, and it seems to me that a guy like this saw an opportunity. There were 3 women in the store alone. Did you
hear that right there? See, this is what was weird was when I was listening to this press conference, I kept thinking, geez, that sounds similar again. Listen to this. He was looking for an opportunity, and he saw them alone, and it's exactly how I picture the Delphi case going down.
It seems to me that a guy like this saw an opportunity. There were 3 women in the store alone.
You know if you've been to that store before?
I have no idea. I have no indication.
And like I'm saying, the odds are that it probably isn't. But this is what's making me go,
Can you share what their reaction was?
I know they've been notified. They've had contact with him. We let them know. Obviously, he was in custody all day, and charges had been filed.
My detectives were able to talk with the family members in person. I was able actually to talk with Mrs. Schmidt's family and some of their support system and extend our condolences. So I appreciate the fact that the detectives have been keeping them.
I don't see anybody up there. I don't know.
That's going on in this case.
Don't see it, Super Soda.
Can you talk about that recanvassing and specifically about any witnesses either at the Hot Shots restaurant and being instrumental in helping break this case open?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for me at this point with charges being issued to talk in specificity about locations and different tips. But listen, on a case like this, as I've said before, we didn't stop working this case. These detectives stayed on it. When you do a canvas, that's basically talking to people. If that's fruitful, it's fruitful. 24 hours later, we're going to do the same thing. right? Exactly 24 hours later, maybe to catch same folks that are indigenous to an area. Then we will do that recanvass again even after that because we're looking for information. It's really as simple as that. But keep in mind, these detectives were, there were scores of tips coming in at times, even on the hour. So this is all information that they have to have the responsibility to look at, to triage, and figure out, where that's going to take them. And in many cases, you can talk about lucky breaks, but you make your own luck.
Can you tell us if you were in contact with any investigators in Indianapolis and Indiana within...
Did you hear that? Did you hear right there? Are you in contact with any investigators from Indianapolis or Indiana?
Another case that has been pointed out with some similarities?
Yeah, we contacted, I think it was Delphi, Indiana, because of some similarities on this. I think it's way too early to make a connection.
That's what I'm trying to tell people, but listen to this.
It's just that it is normal, and that's one of the things that we're looking to do, especially when you don't have a solved case immediately, right? You don't know exactly who did it. Then you're going to be, okay, what do we have that's similar to this? Can we explore that? That was one of those cases that really came up to the top, and we took a look at. We did get...
See that? It really came up to the top, and they took a look at. No, it doesn't remind me of Greeno and Daniel Nations whatsoever, JoJo. The Daniel Nations story was just this whole big, huge fabricated thing. This is literally, if you just listen to that guy right there, he just said that. They didn't say that in the Greeno case. They went out there because people said that. So you see that? Big difference. Big difference here. Listen to that.
One of those cases that really came up to the top, and we took a look at. We did get some assistance on a couple other cases out of the Bureau, but we don't know if those are going to be connected yet or not. And these detectives have been in contact with Indiana State Police and the local Bureau office there to make sure we don't miss anything. But I think right now the important thing is to talk about this case directly in front of us.
Can you tell the story just in a little more detail about how you got a tip about the hat and the coat and at what time that came in?
Who is Supa Soda talking about? I don't even know what they're talking about. That's like they're an idiot. If they're talking about me. See, look at Supa Soda. That's the name. That's the name. Who's that's the name? Is there somebody named that's the name? I don't really get what they're saying. But let's go back and listen to this again.
There to make sure we don't miss anything. But I think right now the important thing is to talk about this case directly in front of us.
Can you tell the story just in a little more detail about how you got a tip about the hat and the coat and at what time that came in and
No, we'll
how
do
that
that in a little
resulted
bit.
in going down to Jefferson County and getting this guy? What was the timeline?
Right. Well, to suffice, we did a canvass on this. We were able to receive additional information through somebody that knew, thought they had some information to share with us. That led us to an individual, and that led us to the area where the arrest was made. I'm very comfortable talking about it in those terms, but I think at this point I would defer any other questions to that to Mr. McCullough.
Well, that again, if it only were that simple, I mean that.
So, I mean, did you get a phone call today, this morning? When did the hot call come through, and how did you act on it?
And it was yesterday evening.
And there were lots of things, and it's not like one immediately after the next. This is a long process that this group of detectives and other officers worked hard all day and night and put everything together, which ultimately led them to this guy.
Have the survivors identified him? You looked like you were about to answer the DNA question too.
Well, I was, but I was going to tell you this. There's a lot of physical evidence that has been seized and a lot that is being tested, and that's, I mentioned earlier, there's a whole lot more that needs to go on in the investigation that will come in. So there'll be DNA testing, there'll be all sorts of things, but all of those aren't back. And as far as what was the other?
Have the survivors identified?
What Delphi tip?
There's, I said, part of the investigation.
They didn't get a Delphi tip, Trent Shark. They actually just thought it seemed similar and searched, and maybe the FBI even is the one, since they're working with them. They thought there was enough similarities that they contacted them. That's what it just said in this press conference.
Going on, and witnesses are being interviewed and examined, and we'll leave it at that.
Were there people that you talked to who were other people who were alarmed by his behavior prior to this incident?
I think that's kind of would be more of a follow-up part of the investigation.
I kind of think that
Doing
one
more
lady that
background
said
on
she
this
ran
guy.
into him wasn't really, didn't run into him in
hap-
October.
Happy ending to make the arrest, but are you appalled at the lack of surveillance tape at this mall that you might not have been caught?
There's no surveillance
Well, I'm not
cameras in the
appalled by it.
mall.
I think I'm a little surprised by it. I would have thought that in that environment, there on Manchester Road, that
Yeah,
there probably
exactly.
would have been more footage than there actually was.
I mean, what kind of what strip mall doesn't have surveillance cameras? I mean, I would say, like, for example, in the Cheryl Coker case, there's 3 cameras just on that in the parking lot. Unfortunately, none of them that would have been valuable were on set to record the whole time. They were just motion activated, and she was too far away. But there was 3 cameras in that parking lot. There's none, basically, in this one.
I can tell you the detectives, when I arrived there, I expected to
You know,
find
maybe
that
he
there was
went
more
around
footage.
and looked.
You know,
and
Kevin, in this
said,
case,
"Whoa,
there wasn't.
no surveillance
And,
cameras here, so I can just
so,
walk away and get away."
Again, that's part of the complicated nature of this specific
I'll wear my hat
investigation.
again, my blue jacket.
Safe to say there's much more cameras than there used to be back in the day, but I was a little
Put my head
surprised
down
there
a little
wasn't more footage.
Do you know how he got there and left? Do you like have a car stashed somewhere?
All right, thank you.
Or the guy, or the girl was lying, Lena, trying
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
to
it.
get some publicity. You know, a lot of people do that. They sort of, oh wow, I ran into too, and they want to insinuate themselves. As a matter of fact, that happens all the time. Even when you look into these cases that we follow, and on Facebook, you always have people that try to go, wow, I was at that same store just an hour before. Oh, whoa. You know, and how do we know, right? I mean, a lot of people just make up stuff so that they can feel like they're really close to the case and have all the attention. Everybody will talk to them and say, wow, that's so great. Tell me more. Well, okay, I wasn't really at the store. I was. Let me go back, see if I can find that spot again.
But keep in mind, these detectives were, there were scores of tips coming in at times, even on the hour. So this is all information that they have to have the responsibility to look at, to triage, and figure out, where that's going to take them. And in many cases, you can talk about lucky breaks, but you make your own luck.
Can you tell us if you were in
I think
contact
JoJo's a
with any
conspiracy
investigators
theorist.
in Indianapolis and
Everything's
Indiana?
always an
Another
ulterior
case
motive
that
or reason.
has been pointed out with some similarities.
Or maybe
We
that's Trench
contacted,
Shark.
I think it was Delphi, Indiana, because of some similarities on this.
Okay, listen.
I think-
Listen.
Has been pointed out with some similarities.
Yeah, we contacted, I think it was Delphi, Indiana, because of some similarities on this.
Yeah, they
I think it's way
contacted
too
on their
early
own Delphi,
to,
Indiana,
make a
because of
connection
similarities.
In that case, it's just that it is normal, and that's one of the things that we're looking to do, especially when you don't have a solved case immediately, right? You don't know exactly who did it. Then you're going to be
Yes,
okay,
everybody,
what do
hit
we
the
have
like
to similar
button,
to
please.
this?
Thank you.
Can we explore that? That was one of those cases that really came up to the top, and we took a look at. We did get some
Yeah,
assistance.
see that part right there? That was one of the cases that really came up to the top. See, after they reviewed the facts in the case, maybe with the FBI, the Delphi case was one of the cases that came up to the top. Okay, so they did contact Delphi, just like I said the other night that I contacted one of the people in law enforcement that I know over there, and they said yes, they were aware of it and said thank you. So that means they had already been contacted early on. Now, were they contacted solely on the hat and the blue jacket look? If that's the case, then it's less likely it's the person. But if it's based on the MO, everything that was going on, the circumstances, the look, and the totality of it, then you're looking at a better chance, but probably not. I'm still not going to say it's 50% or anything like that. I'm just saying I think it was the first time that I've seen a suspect brought up in this entire Delphi case that I thought, this really could be. Yeah. Yeah, well, the whole thing about the ear flaps is we don't know, right? That's what one of the... there's the hat with looks like the golf hat or paperboy hat, and the drawing apparently there was a question asked by, I think maybe Becky asked the detectives to ask the witness, because they weren't, I guess she doesn't know who the witness was, about the hat or something like that. I can't remember the exact scenario, but apparently there was some sort of ear flaps or something on there. But maybe it was the person had a hoodie on and it just seemed like that. Who knows, right? I'm not really a huge fan of sketches or anything like that, because like I said the other day, if you look at the sketch and you see these side-by-sides that everybody and their dog put together, they put the sketch next to somebody they think is the suspect, and you go, wow, that does kind of look like that person. And then the next day somebody else does the same thing, and then somebody else does it the next day, and after about 10 days you have 15 different images, and each one on their own look like the drawing. However, if you put all of the actual images next to each other, none of those people look like each other at all. None. Zero. They look like aliens. I mean, they're completely different looking than each other. So the thing is, that just shows you how generic the sketch is. So let's not, and they even, they did say that might not necessarily be the exact hat, and maybe it had ear flaps, maybe it doesn't. We don't know. All we know is there's a hat that happens to be on the sketch that they put out, and then you got a blue jacket. And that hat actually is the hat that I thought I could see the first week of the Delphi case. I even took a picture. I even still have it in the folder, and I put it on Facebook, and I said, "Guy, it looks like he's got one of those little golf hats on." Got a lot of laughter when I put that out, but hey, look at the sketch later. Had it on there. And there are hats that actually look like the golf hat, but have flaps on them too.
Assistance on a couple other cases out of the Bureau, but we don't know if those are going to be connected yet or not. And these detectives have been in contact with Indiana State Police and the local Bureau office there to make sure we don't miss anything.
So he did contact the Indiana local state police and the FBI local office in the area. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I wouldn't hold your breath or anything like that, but it's intriguing. I will say that. Does anybody want to call in about this? We can do it. There it is. There's the number. Maybe we can do this for a half hour or so. But no, I don't think this is some... Yeah. Well, then, if law enforcement wants you to ignore the hat, then why did they put the hat on there? And the thing is the drawing looks like everybody else too. I'm really one of these people that I don't feel confident when somebody does a drawing. This is Gray. You're on the air.
Hi, Gray. It's Carmen Michelle. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. Got stuffed, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess what my question is I'm not really understanding. So they're not really saying what led them to this guy in the first place?
Well, they're
at
not.
This point?
There was tips, and they found him, but they're not going to say why yet. Yeah. They just got tips, like probably people that said, "Oh God, I know my neighbor wears that hat and jacket all the time. He's kind of creepy." And then he called it in, and turns out that maybe he was the right guy. And then they actually found, I think the clothing he was wearing, he'd tried to hide somewhere or threw him out, and they were able to recover it. But I mean, the tip part, I don't even get concerned with that kind of stuff at all. I mean, it led to the guy.
No, I'm just wondering what led them to him. I was just kind of wondering about the gal who had gotten away. If she had helped in any way, if she maybe seen him go to his car.
Well, that was probably...
Say he had come back out to go to his car and then went back in?
Well, here's the thing, is he went in there, and there was probably 4 women in there at that time. All right, so they all probably saw him in there, and then he saw, whoa, there's just 4 women. Then he went out to his car to get his gun, and then he came back in, and one of the girls was left at that point, so he had to let her leave. Like she was probably already out the door, but she can probably remember what he looks like. I would imagine. But I doubt I doubt that she would know what car he had unless she actually walked all the way out and saw him get back out of his car. She was that far out, and then she could go, oh wow, yeah, he was driving this and that and the other thing, and it looked like he went back in the store. So I guess it depends on. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that having one less person in the store would make a difference of him choosing that location, or?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with it. I think
you think he would have done it if there would have been 4.
Well, yeah, because he left the store to go get his gun because he knew he was going back in there. He was probably disappointed that one of them left because he could have had 4 of people to do different things with him.
Yeah.
Right. He sounds like
crazy.
And it's weird because it sounds like it's one of the most disturbing things anybody's ever seen. And the thing is that's exactly what they said in the Delphi case. So the odds are we just have another barbarian in the world, and the Delphi guy, the bridge guy, whatever you want to call him, is still out there. But I'm hoping that this is that guy. And it sounds like they're interested in him for the same reason. I mean, probably for more reasons than we are. But as soon as I saw the hat and the coat and sort of the circumstances around his actions, I thought, this is really. I'm going to do a video on this. It's not like the others. So, and apparently, police think the same thing.
I find it strange that he would leave the other 2 women alive. Do you think it has anything to do with, like a lot of forensic psychologists say that serial killers are like subconsciously wanting to get caught?
Yeah, a lot of times they're like, God, I want to tell my story. Before I die, Yeah, it's a little different that he didn't kill the other 2, but he did kill one. And it might be that she didn't comply to his demands. So he shot her, and then maybe, I don't know what the timing was of the shooting. He does have a bruise on his face.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So,
it was like somebody got a good shot in there, huh?
Yeah. Let me see if I think I have a picture of it. Yeah, right here. It's kind of small.
But,
small image,
if he was, let's say, just hypothetically, he was the Delphi murderer,
Mm-hmm.
he got away with that, so maybe and all we've had is a sketch, and nobody's really been able to catch him off of that, because like you said, sketches are pretty shaky anyway, so maybe, he just kind of figured it doesn't matter if he leaves a couple alive, they're not going to really be able to do any better of a job than that case. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
A little bit. Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, like you said, you can't really get into these guys' heads, but that's the only other reason I could think that he would risk.
But look at him too.
Alive.
I mean, the thing is just look at this shot right here. See, when you see the Delphi shot of the guy on the bridge, you don't see hair on the guy. Everyone thinks, oh well, you can see hair because they keep thinking that's his hair. But if you take away that look, you don't see any hair. Although you have a witness that says they see a reddish kind of color hair, and I have seen this guy on Facebook images where his hair is a little bit of a reddish brown. But he had a hat on his head and maybe a hoodie sort of around it. I don't know, but you can't see hair coming out of his head. I mean,
even in the stills that we got from
under the hat,
was it Libby's phone, right? Even that you can't really tell if there's hair on the sides or not.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like when you look at the suspect image of the guy on the bridge, you can't tell that he has hair.
Yeah.
Oh, and JoJo said he was wearing a wig. He thought that far ahead. Oh yeah, right up there with the. Okay, he changed his contact lens color. Yeah. Remember that one? Well, how do we know he doesn't have blue eyes? He could have changed. Oh God! What do you think? This guy is some sort of CIA
Master of
agent?
disguises.
Yeah. I bet he pulled out a clown mask with one of those big orange noses right after he left. We don't know though.
Well, I think I usually tend to go with what is it? They say the Occam's razor.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, I know that was a question, Jojo. Everyone knows that was a question. I just think it's we could do that all day long. Hey, was he wearing shoes that were actually elevator shoes a little bit that made him taller than he was? Hey, was he brought in there by a subway? But it's like we don't. It's just those kind of questions don't help anything. Did he wear a wig? I don't know. How would we ever know the answer? Did he wear a wig?
Yeah.
If
this does turn out to be the same guy, I mean, he either wanted to get caught or he just had so much hubris that he didn't think he would. And I probably would lean towards the latter.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is what Jojo's saying on the sketch, you see somebody with some curly hair sticking out the side. Okay. Now I don't know if this guy sometimes, because he looks like he could grow hair here, he would just be bald on the top right there. So maybe he had hair longer at a certain point, but when you go onto his Facebook page, almost all of his images, however, the images we're looking at appear to start in February 15th of this year. So who knows what his hair might have looked like before that. Don't know. But yeah. I doubt a wig has anything to do with it. Okay. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see that from the stills that we got. And the sketch, like you said, that's just...
Yeah, he can grow hair on the sides, though. See, the thing is when you look at the suspect image, or the sketch. See, I hate looking at the sketch. I know law enforcement want you to look at the sketch, but I've seen the sketch look like I said, 20 people. And really close, but all 20 people look nothing like each other. So then that means that the sketch isn't really that specific.
Yeah.
Let's see. Delphi, suspect, or just sketch would do it. Jesus, my hands are all over the place. Yeah, so let's say you're looking at that. Well, he does have hair on the sides there, and he has hair here, but notice you don't see any long hair coming down the front, right? So if you took off this hat, what if he was bald underneath there, and he just grew out the side stuff? Who knows, right?
Who knows?
And who even knows how accurate this is? That's the whole problem. And his hair is reddish brown in the picture. I mean, the thing is all you see in the picture of the guy here, for example, look. Like this guy, right? He does have hair here.
Yeah.
So if that was ever longer, it would grow here and over here, back. He could grow it back there, but he doesn't have any hair here. Okay, so the sketch, who knows? I mean, it's just dumb. That's why it's stupid to go, oh, was he wearing a wig? Because it's like, who knows, right? I don't have any confidence in using that sketch to determine who the killer is. Now, will the killer eventually look somewhat like the sketch? Probably. But so did 40 other people so far that everybody keeps putting out. This guy here, though, look, he's got the goatee that you seem to be able to see. You put a hat on him and the jacket hunched over, maybe a hoodie on there. Looks like he could be the guy, but like I'm saying, the odds aren't the greatest, but law enforcement is looking into this guy as being involved. So there you go.
I'm just glad that they're aware, yeah.
Yeah.
So, either way, bottom line, at the end of the day, it's one less monster off the street.
That's true. One less monster.
And thank you for everything that you do, Gray.
Oh, well, thanks. Thomas Bruce, the Barbarian. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a happy holiday season.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There you go. See? Not too bad calling in, right? His eye color looks just like I would think, like kind of a hazel color. This is Gray. You're on the air.
Hi, Greg. That was into a radio show or something.
Yeah, who is this? Yeah, it's a little bit, your connection's kind of weird. Who is this, by the way?
Okay, sorry. So this is Mitch, M-I-C-H from the chat.
Okay.
Basically, I'm calling England. I hope my connection's okay. I'm sorry if it's not.
Yeah, your audio is really, really bad, actually. It's like you can barely hear you, really. Is there a weird spot, or?
No, I'm in my room, but if it's bad,
Well,
it's okay.
okay.
I can try to call again. I want to talk about the paperboy hat.
Okay, go ahead. I can hear you now. Yeah, maybe just get out what you want to say, and then we'll decipher it. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. So basically, the paperboy hat, when the BG sketch, or rather, came out, it was like, I found it really strange about the paperboy hat, because of all the hats you would like to stick on someone's head, why that one? It's like, you kind of imagine that kind of hat on someone who...
Like rich people.
Like a
golfer.
Corvette or something, like
right, that's what I said.
Sky.
That's why I thought he was maybe, I always thought he's not a blue-collar type. I always thought he was some sort of, like a richer type person. But now, this guy here, though, lives in a trailer park, so I don't know if this is the guy. But apparently he had the same hat on, and he lived in a trailer park, so...
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I guess I've been around a while, and I've just never ever seen a person in a trailer park or a hick, quote unquote, ever be in one of those hats. But I accept that it's entirely possible.
Well, the thing is rich people can live in trailer parks. It doesn't mean It doesn't mean that you. Hey, there's some really nice trailers out there, Gray. Have you ever seen them? Boy, there's. Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, I live in England, but my family is originally from Indiana and Kentucky. So you're right that people can have a high income and live in trailers just because it's their thing. But now I don't see paperboy hats on my Kentucky relatives. But anyway, I don't want to labor that point. But it was definitely when the Delphi sketch came out, I thought, that is not what I expected.
Yeah. It's funny, though, because I can go back. Let me see if I can find something. I'm not sure what drive this is on. But, is that... Maybe you can try either calling in again or... Because it still has that really bad sound.
That's fine. You know what? I have never downloaded Skype, so I'll give it a try, and then maybe I'll try to call in, sometime again. But thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much. All right, bye.
You're welcome. All right, bye.
Bye. Yeah, I don't know why this is just a regular line that you can call in on. You don't have to have Skype. I'm going to try to find that hat. I'm going to see what date did I put that hat in there. I don't remember. Can't find it. I was scrolling through my files over here and I saw one of these, the Daniel Nations image put next to the Bridge Guy sketch that people did. That was awesome. Yeah, I can't find it for some reason. Where that is. All right, well, does anybody else want to call in? Hey, there's Jay Case. Thank you. Live. Hughes and the Trailer Park Boys live at 9 p.m. Front and center, be there. I think I have the audio set up. I don't know. Oh, there it is.
Hughes and the Trailer Park Boys live at 9 p.m. front and center. Be there.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I have his Facebook page. I think I may have deleted it recently, though. I mean, off the link off the top of on my desktop. Do any of you have the link really quick, Dara? We can go check it out. There was one with his wife, too. It's on, actually, the video that I did the other night should have it on it. Maybe I can just open that up. Let's see. Yeah, oops. Possible, was it this one? I think it was this one. Okay. No, it was on the day after that one. This one. Paul. Yeah, here you go. Jerome Bruce. Photos. But there's Tom Bruce right there, right? So here he is. Like, see that right there? This is October 27th. Right there. But see, even when you look at a picture like that, you kind of think, wow, you know, look at that, the look here. You got the right size, everything. You know, he's got glasses on here, but, you know, he doesn't wear glasses all the time. Like, you got this picture here, he's not wearing glasses. Now look at the coloring on this one. So you can see that that's reddish gray, and then look at, he completely shaved his head bald in this picture here, but look at his eyebrows. Those are reddish brown underneath. I mean, it's gray because he's older, but the color is more of a reddish brown. And look, he shaved his head completely clear there. Clean. And the interesting thing is, this is his first post right here, February 15th, 2018, this year, which is one day after the 1-year anniversary. Somebody actually told me what this bird was and what the meaning of it was. I don't know where that is now, though. If they're in the chat, maybe they can type it in. And let's see, there was also the wife here. So here's another picture of him, okay? And this one is from November 23rd, 2017. It's small, though. But so this one is the same year, 7. Now look at this one. See, this one is what I was trying to tell you there, Joe, if you're still watching. Look. See, here you can see hair on his head. It's out a little bit further. All right, so 9 months prior to this was the Delphi incident. But see his hair there? It's a little bit more on his head. You can see it, and kind of looks a little bit more reddish brown. But right up here, it's even darker. See that? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even notice that was on my screen. Let's see. All right, right there. See that? He's got hair here and hair over there. Now, was it even longer just prior to that? I don't know. And that's literally the only picture on his wife's page is that one. Yeah. Yep. So there you have it. I think that at least it's interesting to hear. You know, you have confirmation that Delphi heard from law enforcement regarding that case, and then law enforcement in Missouri confirms that they did contact the Delphi FBI and police because there's some similarities there that were enough that made them go, Okay, so that's the same kind of thing that made me go, And that's it, all right? That's all I got. I don't have any other proof at all other than, the guy is the correct size, the age range that they gave out, and basically, he observed a scenario where he thought he could get away with it. Perhaps he saw that there was no surveillance cameras. He went into the store, saw that there was only women. Now they were in this trap that he could just keep them in. He went back out to his car, got his gun, went in there, and had him do what he wanted them to do. And he killed one of them. So it shows that he has the ability to kill, and he has the ability to plot and plan and do sick things. Right? And he has a similar look. He had the hat. He had the blue jacket. And, if it's almost like if it's not him, wow. I don't know. What kind of work was he in? I think I remember reading about it the other day, but I forgot already. And I hope everybody in here had a good Thanksgiving. I know that was just yesterday. We're right back to the crime again. But I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Yeah, well, I disagree, ML587. That's just you trying to troll because you thought it was somebody else. Law enforcement disagrees with you too, so. Okay. It might not be, probably isn't connected, but your comment doesn't make sense given what we already know. Nice try, though. Nice try. If he started shaving his head around the time of Delphi, that would be another wow. Yeah, I guess they could be talking to his wife. Yep. Or do I sound like I haven't eaten today, Joe? Maybe I need my apple, is what you're trying to say. Yeah, it was pretty fun. We always do the same thing every year, go to the parents' house. Well, he doesn't have any Facebook presence or social media presence until this year, in February. He may have another account that's hidden somewhere. Might be interesting to try to go find that. Well, I did see something. Somebody sent me that he does have some Indiana connections. So there was that. Anyways. All right. Well, I think that's going to be about it for this one. I probably will come on later. We might even do, if there's anything new in this one, talk about this for a little bit. But we might go over some of the information in the 2,000-page document that was given out on the Chris Watts case. I was done with that one, but then the information in the document is pretty crazy. So I might have to check that out later. I don't know. You'll have to go look that one up, Ada. I don't know. I just saw the guy sent me something and listed his name for something in parts of Indiana. All right. Well, that's about it. And thank you, Jay, for the contribution to Super Chat and the channel. I appreciate it. And that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing and think that there is a chance that this could be the suspect. I mean, better than the normal chance. Do you think this might be the guy, Gray? Like talking about just some random photo on Facebook, and I'll say, no, probably not. But this one is actually somebody law enforcement thought was interesting. So I am going to be talking about this guy. Now, if they ever clear him, I'll bring that forward too. But this case is interesting on its own. It's crazy. I've never actually heard of this scenario before. That's what's striking to me about the cases. They're equal in brazen craziness. Same, just absolutely nuts. Okay? And that's why I'm interested in it. All right? So that's all I got for you guys. And until next time, everybody, be safe out there.